Sorry I've not been posting videos lately. I've not been very good at keeping to my aim of one video every week. So if you do enjoy my videos, please do hit the little symbol that looks like a bell underneath the video because it'll notify you when I post one, because I know that I haven't been very reliable sticking to every Wednesday. So this video today isn't a miniatures video, but it's about my artwork. Some of you may know that every week I go to an art group. It's just for fun, and it's really nice to be around like-minded people, and we get syllabus and we don't have to stick to the syllabus, but we can if we want. And every year there is an annual exhibition for our art group, and it's in our local village hall. And I filmed this video as it was coming up to the exhibition and I didn't have any artwork to exhibit. So each week I work in my sketchbook, and I've decided that next year what I'm going to do when I get the syllabus is I'm going to highlight 6 things where I think actually that's not going to be in my sketchbook, that's going to be on paper or board or canvas for the exhibition. Because this year I found that I've got lots of work in my sketchbook but nothing to go in the exhibition. So the exhibition's coming up, which means that it's time to make some artwork. The only trouble is that the one thing that holds me back from making artwork is I can never think of what to paint or draw. I really get sort of writer's block and get faced with a blank page or a blank canvas and just get stuck and don't know what to do. I'm alright want to get started. So I'd already done one piece of artwork and it was this little mouse. I will put the photographer in the description below because I found this picture online and I replicated it with watercolour and ink, but I do want to make sure that the photographer is acknowledged. So I sat for ages and tried to work out what to paint. I really enjoy painting, but my main medium that I like to use is oil paint, but that takes such a long time to dry that that really wasn't an option for the exhibition. I also like doing watercolour and pen, and I do sometimes use acrylics, but I get a bit frustrated with them because they dry so quickly. So I sat for quite a while pondering, thinking what shall I do, and then I got a text message saying, do you want to go for a walk on the coast? And so that completely distracted me because obviously my answer was yes. I was hoping maybe the sea breeze would blow a few cobwebs away and help me to find some inspiration for my painting. So at this point it was still April and it was still freezing, and actually it is the 1st of June today and it's still very cold now. I don't mind too much because I'm not that fond of the weather when it's really hot, but I do wonder what's going on with the seasons. I found that my garden's a little bit out of sync with where it's normally at this time of year. Anyway, I went for a walk and blew away the cobwebs and watched the waves for a little while, watched the seagulls. I was going to play the sound of the waves, but actually the camera just picked up the sound of the wind because it was a very windy day. And of course, whilst we were there, I had some chips, because you've got to have some chips when you go to the seaside. After that, when I was back at home, it was time to get started again. I was joined by my lovely companion who really enjoyed standing where I was needing the paper to go. So one thing that I did decide to paint was a strawberry because my mum said that she wanted a painting of a strawberry for her kitchen. So I did do this in acrylic, and it took me quite a while to get going just because I haven't painted for such a long time with acrylic. This book here is a book that I was bought for my birthday, and it's all about making colours with different types of paint, and it's the first time that I've painted since getting the book, and I was quite excited because I have said in a previous video that I find it really difficult to make the correct shade or the correct tone, and it's something that I want to work on, so I'm hoping that this book will help me. But when I opened it to make a start, what I found was that it spoke about very specific starting colours, and they weren't the same ones as what I had in my collection. So I do plan on soon upgrading my supply of paint. I've been watching an artist on YouTube called Brooke Cormier, and I love watching her. I think she's brilliant, and she has spoken about using water mixable oil paints, which I've never tried and I would really like to. So when I upgrade my selection of paints, that's what I'm going to get, and I'm going to get the specific colours mentioned in this little book so that I can really work on that kind of colour theory and really learn how to mix colours properly. So this painting of a strawberry I'm actually really unhappy with. As I was doing it, I kept putting layer on layer on to try and make it better, but I'm alright with the background. I quite like the colour of the background, but I feel that I've not got enough sort of light and dark in this painting, and so it looks very flat. It doesn't look 3D enough. I potentially might go back and take it out of the frame and add a bit more paint and add a bit more colour to it, or I might just discard it and do a new painting for my mum. But I did need quite a few paintings for the exhibition, so I thought actually I will still exhibit it. I've done it and it's not terrible, it's just not as good as I'd hoped it would be. So from the next piece of artwork, I decided to paint my local church, seeing as the exhibition was going to be in the local village hall. I thought it'd be quite a nice thing to do. I really like painted buildings, and I tend to always use watercolour and pen to do buildings. Normally when I do paint buildings, I tend to have quite a colourful colour palette that's not true to real life. For this one I did just stick to sort of the yellowy colours because it matched the colour of the stonework, and I do look back on it now and think maybe I should have taken the risk and done the vibrant colour palette. But I think just because I've not painted buildings for a long time, I didn't want to ruin the piece of work. I normally do the paintings in my sketchbook where it doesn't matter too much if it doesn't work out, it's more experimental. Here for this piece, the cheese in the middle is actually a paper cutting with a watercolour background behind it, and I did the paper cutting quite a long time ago when I did a series of paper cuttings as pieces of artwork. But it's just been stored in a cupboard because I didn't like the piece of cheese. Why would anybody want a piece of cheese just paper cut out? But I decided to paint a little mouse onto it, and suddenly I feel like it's turned it into a fun piece of artwork. I also had some cards which I decided to pop into the exhibition because there was a stand for people to have cards that match their artwork. My cards have illustrations that I've done digitally, and there's some duplicates in this pile, but I'll just show you a few of them. I did used to put my illustrations onto my Instagram, but I don't really do that anymore. My doll's house work's taken over, so that's more on my Instagram now. But I do like doing digital illustrations. Again, there's something I've not done for a little while. So, to the exhibition. When it was finally time to exhibit, I exhibited my piece with the church, which is in the bottom on the right hand side there. Also, the crab in the top right is mine. That's a paper cutting with spritzing ink behind it. And in the middle here I've got my little mouse, which is the black and white watercolour. Isn't the artwork around it amazing? Those pencil drawings of the dogs I think were spectacular, and I voted for one because you can vote for, in the exhibition, you can vote for which painting you like the most. There's my paper cutting with my little mouse and his cheese. The still life on the left there is one that I really don't want to keep. So I painted that, but I don't really want it anymore. So after the exhibition I brought everything home and I laid it out because not only did I have the paintings that I exhibited, I also had some paintings from the exhibition last year, and they've just been piled up in cupboards and in bags. All of these at the front paper cuttings that I don't really want anymore. I've got so much artwork in my house. I mentioned that one of the main barriers to me painting is that I can never think of what to do to get started. But another barrier is that after I've done the paintings, I never know what to do with them afterwards, and I just end up with them stored in random places. So I decided to lay them all out because actually I do have a wall that's got no paintings, no artwork on it at all, and I thought maybe I could put a selection of these up. So I sorted through them. There's the strawberry, which I'll ask my mum if she wants it, but if she doesn't I will paint another strawberry at some point. I don't know what to do with my painting of the church because that's not one that I would like up on my wall, and the crab as well, it might go in my bathroom maybe, but I don't know if you can put artwork in your bathroom. I don't know if the frame will be watertight. Let me know if anyone that's listening has ever put any artwork up in the bathroom. Was it okay? I feel like it'll probably get condensation behind the glass. Interestingly, when I laid all of the work out and I said that I find it difficult to think of things to paint, I did notice that quite a lot of these pieces of artwork were all sort of animals or nature, and I think that that is probably my thing that I like to paint. Here's my sleeping fox, which is a digital illustration which I love, so that's definitely getting kept. Some of the artwork from last year, the glass definitely needs a bit of a polish. Obviously I shouldn't have been doing that with my sleeve. Also, these little stickers that are stuck on the pieces of artwork from the exhibition, because I'd left these stickers on from last year, they've left residue, so I need to try and get that off as well. Again, not with my sleeve. So I discarded the ones that I thought I didn't want on my walls. When I say discarded, I put them back in the cupboard. I don't know what to do with them. Maybe the charity shop will want them. That might be a nice idea. Okay, so I started to lay them out to try and work out what sort of composition I would like for my wall, to have a bit of a gallery wall. I love the fact that they're all different frames and different shapes and sizes. So I know that the light is reflecting off the glass there, so let me show you in full. So I've got very much a woodland theme going on here, I think. Foresty animals. So here's my wall that's completely plain. I don't really like the colour of the green in the background, but I'm hoping that the pictures will make the green look a nicer colour. So I had already decided on my arrangement, and I was going to put picture pins into the wall and then hook them up. I have this little wire detector to check for pipes and wires and electrics behind the wall. It kept flashing red everywhere. So I had these command picture strip things, which I have used really successfully on some of my paintings downstairs, but as soon as I stuck these ones on this painting, the sticky just didn't seem to be sticky anymore. Now I have had the strips for quite a while, but they were still in their original packet and I hadn't peeled the backing off them, so I'm not really sure what was happening there, but I thought I'll persist, because surely they don't lose their sticky after a certain amount of time, because they're meant to stay up on the wall for a long time, aren't they? So I put this painting up and it said you've got to press it against the wall, and then you've got to remove the painting and leave it for a certain amount of time before popping the painting back up. When I removed the painting, as you can see here, it took the strip off the painting, so that does really make me feel a little nervous that the painting's going to fall off the wall completely. But anyway, I left it to dry, and then I had a little think, because I thought I either need to go and get more of these strips to put all the other paintings up, or I persevere and find the areas of the wall that aren't flashing red at me. I chose the second option, because after going to look for some more command strips and looking at the weights that they could hold, I was really nervous that they were going to fall off the wall. So I was also really nervous that I was going to hammer a nail through a pipe, so I was really careful about where I was going to put the nails. I did want this picture here, but I found that in the positions where I had to put the nails and hooks, the little machine was flashing red at me. Now, I don't know if I just wasn't using this properly. It seemed to settle after a few seconds in some spots where it flashed red and then it went green, but I was really nervous. I didn't want to put a nail through a pipe. So I decided not to put this picture in this spot here, and I changed the arrangement from what I'd planned earlier. You can see my concentration here as I'm thinking, shall I risk this? The answer is no, you should not risk putting a nail through a pipe. Please don't copy how I put these up, because honestly as I was putting them up I was thinking, I don't know if I'm doing this right, and I don't know what this wall's made of. I don't know whether it was the sheets of plasterboard with some stud walls behind or not. My house is really old, so I'm not quite sure what was behind this wall. But as I put some of the nails in, I almost heard sort of like plaster falling through the back, so I'm assuming that was from plasterboard. But then at some points the nails wouldn't go in at all. I'm assuming maybe I was hammering into stud. I don't think it was brick. And then at some points the nails went straight through the wall and then straight back out again because they were so loose. I had a really tough time putting these pictures up, so definitely don't copy me, don't copy my techniques. I have no recommendations or advice on how to put up a gallery wall. So I ended up with an arrangement that wasn't quite what I was going for, and one of the pictures is way too close to the other one, so I will move it across a little bit. And my acorn isn't up, but I am going to get some of those strips of Velcro to put that up because it's light. So thank you for watching. I know that this has been a video not about miniatures but about my artwork, but I hope you've enjoyed it anyway. And please let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you again soon.